Hey, what's up, everybody? It's just Charles Sabantu, and welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamers Pro Show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and we give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. And today we have a hell of a show in store for you guys. Before we get into it, please make sure you like the video and sub to the channel. So today we're going to be talking about friend to the channel, a very cool dude in Marcellus Wiley. We haven't spoken about him in some time, but today we're going to get into some of the things that he said in his reaction to this bombshell lawsuit that dropped on Sunday. So that's when we get into that. But before we get into that, please make sure you like the video and sub to the channel. Also, we're going to be getting into this. I'm going to be giving you guys my unfiltered, unadulterated thoughts on this situation in a way that I can on YouTube. So if you guys want to hear what I have to say this week in our NBA weekly recap, please make sure you join the membership, the Dreamers Pro community. We have it pinned in the comments. That's the only place you're going to hear me talk about it this way. YouTube has certain restrictions, so I'm not going to get myself in trouble. But if you guys want to hear my thoughts on this situation and where I think it's going, please make sure you guys subscribe to that. We have that pinned in the comments. Anyway, let's get into this. So when this story dropped, apart from us doing the live, one of the first people I thought about was Marcellus Wiley, because it just so happens that I'm fortunate enough to know somebody that is connected to this situation directly. So after we did the live, I chatted him up immediately. Like, yo, Marcellus, you got to see this story. He was like, what story? So I sent it to him. He went through the law. So I was like, bro, we got to hear your thoughts on this. And he did a fantastic breakdown. The thing about Marcellus, when he does these shows, he usually takes his time. He takes his, Marcellus Wiley, he'll be saying something, he'll pause, he'll let y'all think about it, he'll relax for a minute, and then he is never in a hurry. Right, I'm always in a hurry because there's a reason for that. He knows why. If he sees this video, he knows why. For some technical reasons why I'm always in a hurry to get these videos done pretty quickly. So I clicked on his video, and I think his video now has about 500,000 views. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. The reason I'm saying that is not just because he's my dude, but also because he breaks it down like from step to step, and he's somebody that worked there. So he's going to give you an insight that nobody else can. So make sure y'all check it out. So I was clicking on his show specifically to see what was he going to say about the case itself, and what parts was he going to say, this is true, I believe this, I heard that. And folks, when he started getting into the details of this case here, when he started getting into it, and there were some things that Jason Whitlock said that was directly related to Marcellus Wiley, and we may cover that tomorrow. I was like, yo, man, he is really, really connecting the dots here and exposing the flagrant truth. So what we want to do is want to play some of the key parts that Marcellus Wiley spoke about this story, and then we're going to come back and continue on the show. Take a listen to Marcellus Wiley here.
What I know about this is that, in general, the makeup room is a setup for failure, setup for disaster. It's a recipe for disaster. And this is not to damn the makeup artist. It's because that's the breeding ground for all these salacious relationships. Everywhere I've worked, and you can look it up. You can just literally type in network, makeup artist, blah, blah, blah. It's an intimate environment. She's right in your face. And I've seen it go both ways. The players, or the former players, or the announcer, the host, whoever the guest is going in there ready to mac, ready to holler. It could be that person. It could be the makeup artist who is, she knows how close in the proximity she is to some access, some success. She knows how powerful these figures are, you know? And I've also seen it where you come in and you're just not even tripping. But you guys see each other 5 times a week, multiple times a day. She ain't ugly, you ain't either. You got $5, she got $4. Y'all kicking it. And it turns into something. I've seen it every single level. This one specifically, I can't pin down on Skip Bayless. That's a lot of money for something that's free online. I'm going to say that again. But over 7 years, as is alleged, things are different. Things can change for her. Let's get to this one. Joy Taylor, because I think she's taking most of the heat right now. This really came at Skip Bayless, and his name is splattered. And look, him and Ernestine going to have some conversations. Oh, aren't they? But Joy Taylor basically is being framed as sleeping her way to success, allegedly. So let's talk through it. It says she slept with Charlie Dixon, who's the head of content, basically the boss of FS1, because he's the daily guy that you will always know has his fingerprints on everything there. Eric Shanks runs FS1, but that's probably a little more paperwork, a little more shaking of hands, etc. The content, what you see, who you see, all of that, the budgets, oh, that's Charlie Dixon, and that's my dog. However, in terms of Joy Taylor, they say that him and Joy Taylor had a romantic relationship. That's what Nushin says. And others, according to the lawsuit. All right. Why is that important? Well, if you're sleeping with the guy who allegedly runs everything, sooner or later, no matter how fast you are, you're going to be running something.
So you heard what he had to say. He didn't even hesitate to say when he heard about the rumor about Acho and Joy Taylor. He's like, yeah, I heard that too. Now, folks, let's get into why this is a problem. Okay. This is a problem on so many levels at Fox. We have the harassment level where we have a problem, where there's a problem with that. We have the intimidation part with Joy and the lady Faraj allegedly. You have that aspect of it. You have the part about when the situation was presented to HR and their unwillingness to do something about this. We have the part about the manipulation from the top with Charlie Dixon and all of that. You have all of these different aspects. And then you have the part about people dating at work. Now, there was a huge story a few years ago about email doke and all of that took place. This then begs the question, is this how things work at Fox? And what's their company policy on this? Because if you have staff members sleeping with executives allegedly, then you're going to have a conflict of interest, number one. And number two, where does it leave the people that don't sleep with anyone? Where does it leave them? I mean, imagine you being in a situation where you're like, okay, I want to get I'm working out, I want to get a raise and get promoted. And you find out like, okay, well, yeah, it's good that you're working hard, but there's another way you can really expedite the process. And is if you have some hoo-ha time with so-and-so person and you're like, well, I'm not willing to do it. And then they're like, okay, well, then just be happy where you are. How would one feel being in an environment like that? How would you also feel, and this is kind of alluding to what Jason Whitlock said, I'm going to talk about that later. How would you then feel when you, that's a person that's qualified, talented, bringing a lot to the table, gets cast away to the side for somebody else that's doing things that you're not willing to do? Where's the fairness in that type of workplace environment? Right? And it shows you that there seems to be a toxic culture that exists at Fox, at least based on this lawsuit. Now, I give you guys an example of my come to reality moments or whatever it is. So, a number of years ago, when I moved to Nigeria, I went to work at my uncle's hotel, all right, as a receptionist. And the reason I was working as a receptionist was because my father was building his own hotel, a 5-star hotel, and I was supposed to kind of work with him. That didn't work anyway. But anyway, so I was working at the hotel, at the reception to understand how the hotel business works. And if you can understand the front desk, because that's where you get all the money from. If you can understand that, you can understand a lot of things. It's connected to food and beverage, the restaurant, it's connected to rooms, it's connected to events. All the money is really coming there, and you're now connected to accounts. Like, so it was a really, really intense job for me. There were some days I worked 24-hour shifts and all of that, but I was committed to learning, and I'm a hard worker. So, those kind of things didn't scare me. So anyway, I was working there. Okay. And I was actually getting paid by less than all the other people that are working there with the same level of experience to me, because my dad thought it would be a great idea for me to get paid less than all. He's like, pay him less. I'm like, all right, whatever. So I'm doing that. And what happens? The person that's in charge of hiring, I think is the HR guy or whoever it was that was in charge of hiring the staff, the women, like the women that worked in the restaurant, the women that worked in the reception, like in the reception and other places, was this guy. Can't remember his name. Bald head dude. Now, me being old, naive Charles, I'm just there doing my work. I'm doing my work. And then I started to look at these girls. I'm like, well, she looks a little bit too pretty to be working here. Like, it was like the way they were dressed, their behavior. I'm like, well, this is extremely provocative. Like, goddamn, what kind of operations are we running here? Just to find out later on that this HR guy was sleeping with all of these girls he was hiring. All of them. And if you were unwilling to sleep with him, you was up out of there. You was up out of there. And then it started to make sense to me because at the time I wasn't married, I was single or whatever it was. So this girl used to flirt with me and I would flirt back because, well, I'm going to flirt. Then all of a sudden he started to give me side looks and I'm like, what is going on here? Because he was married. So I'm confused, not knowing that that was one of his candidates. Let's put it that way. I bring up the story to say that this thing exists in the workplace, in different industries. And what we're seeing now is it exists at the highest level. And now you're hearing from people that were connected to the situation that were unwilling to do that because there were women that worked there that had kids and all that. They were self-respecting women. Some of them are married and they had no interest in doing that whatsoever. And then others did. Right. So this story relates to that story and it can relate to so many stories. To me, what I'm thankful of is that Marcellus has given us the real information from a first-hand standpoint from somebody that worked there. That's the real part that really stood out to me. So these are my thoughts on it, man. Shout out to Marcellus for his fantastic breakdown. If you guys haven't watched it, make sure you go ahead and watch it. And if you want my raw, unadulterated thoughts on this situation, we'll be dropping that in our weekly recap and our membership that we have pinned in the comments, Dreamers Pro community. Make sure you guys join that if you want to hear that, because that's the only place you're going to hear it. Whatever you guys think, please leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section. We catch you guys on the next show. Peace.